Rob Dauster here. I got Jeff Goodman with me.
Hell no.
John Fink.
Are we still live?
Field of 68 till I die.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out.
Randolph Childress.
DJ Kylan, you know the big DJ Kylan guy?
Hands thrown up and in.
Goodman needs to be fired all the time.
Josh Pastner.
You're going to beat people straight up.
You know the deal.
Drink responsibly tonight. I'll be drinking with you.
Jarrell McNeil.
From the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors.
This is Field of 68 after dark.
It was the first night of the college basketball season where we got a game that everybody, not just college basketball fans, got excited about. It was the first night of the college basketball season where we had a marquee matchup between two ranked teams, Arizona and Duke, Cameron Indoor Stadium. The Wildcats pulled it off, 78-73, behind 5 players in double figures, field of 68. We were live courtside for the game. Jeff Goodman, Randolph Childress. My name is Rob Dauster, and I got to tell you guys, there was a lot of hype heading into this. I was anticipating this game as much as any game that I've anticipated doing this for the field of 68. Maybe it's because of the offseason. Maybe it was because of Duke. Maybe it's because of Caleb Love's return to Durham. But I think it lived up to the hype and more. Randolph, I don't think that we could have asked for a better, more exciting game on a night that had a lot of great college basketball. Some of it is still happening, by the way. You might want to check out a Final Four team that is currently losing up in Provo, Utah. But tonight, I think this game lived up to the hype and more, and I don't think you can say much more about it than that.
We wanted a good game, and that's what we got. You know, hard-fought game, went down to the end, last possession. I know you look at the score, it's a 5-point game, but that's just Duke throwing it up, trying to get a Hail Mary pass to get a 3 off. But, man, credit to Arizona. I'm more impressed with Arizona than I was even Duke. More of it, than Duke being disappointed in them. I thought Arizona came in and won this game and showed that they're a team that's going to be a force all year long.
Yeah, they're just different than they've been, because they're athletic. They guard. Like, that's the one thing that, again, I think Tommy Lloyd looked at their loss against Princeton and even their season last year and said, like, all right, we can't win at the highest level this way. We got to have some dogs. And they showed tonight they got some dogs.
He was quick to emphasize that. Thank you. He wouldn't need to take care of me.
I got you.
I don't have the fashion sense to know what was wrong right there. I just thought you were trying to look cool by popping your collar.
It's funny. That became – we thought that was the reputation of Arizona, though. Just pace, offense, and then they were anything. They are that, but now they're tough. They
isn't
defend.
that funny? Because you're right. You thought Tommy Lloyd would keep going with this, and he's adding international guys still. So you thought, like, all right, it's not going to change. But it's the blend now.
Yeah.
And really the international guys are kind of the supplementary pieces right now. I mean, all their top players for the most part tonight weren't the imports. They were the transfers, they were the older dudes, they were the men, and Kylan Boswell was awesome.
Yeah, and we'll get to Kylan Boswell. We got a lot to talk about. We talked with him after the game. That's a little tease, what we in the business like to call a tease. How about that one, Jeff?
Yeah.
No, but I think that it was very clear to me watching that performance that toughness, athleticism, physicality, the ability to be switchable was something that Tommy Lloyd really emphasized. Because if you look at what they were last year, right, Azuolas Tubelis at the 4, Kirk Kreese at the 1, like you kind of had to play straight up. You didn't really have other options. Keshad Johnson, 14 points, 8 boards, 2 huge buckets down the stretch. Like that kind of play is not something that you would have saw from Arizona last year. You look at what Jaden Bradley brought, right? You look at Kylan Boswell, what he brought. Even Caleb Love, like we'll have a lot to talk about with him, but I thought on the defensive end, like he didn't play a great game offensively, but they had to have him out there. He played 30 minutes for a reason because of what he did defensively. I think it was a very targeted plan by Tommy this offseason.
They got versatile pieces on the defensive end. They were switchable. They're physical. Yeah. I thought the biggest thing that jumped out is when Ballo's in the game, he controls the paint. But from a physical standpoint, I thought they mangled the Duke guards. Mm-hmm. On the dribble handoffs, trying to get over ball screens, they just physically, there was just a massive difference in the physicality of the backcourt.
Well, think about it, too. Last year having Ballo and Tubelis together defensively. It's a liability. It's a liability.
Right.
You don't have that anymore because, like you said, you have the only guy you have is Ballo, who obviously, you can't switch on everything. But for the most part, everybody else is big, strong, like even Caleb Love. You could switch him on other dudes. Yeah. He's 6'2". It doesn't matter He's so strong. And again, I talked to him after the game tonight, and we talked about his defense. And he said, like, I know I have to. I know that's something I had to do, and I didn't do it well last year.
Yeah, and the thing about him that really, really impressed me, and we heard this all offseason, right? But, like, it's offseason chatter, was he was passive. Like, he wasn't – you would think, like, the Caleb Love that we knew the last 2 years in North Carolina walks back in this building. He's trying to get 30, right? He's trying to go win that game himself. I don't think he took his first shot until, like, there were 13 minutes left in the first half.
You can tell he was conscious about letting the game come to him. That was just – he turned down shots that he would have forced.
Maybe too much.
Yeah. He was a little bit more – you can tell he's conservative, turned down.
Almost
just one
like
more.
Listening to all the criticism and saying, like, no, I'm going to show people that I can make my teammates better. Yeah. And I think he's got to find that balance.
And I think he will. I mean, he got his looks. He's still going to get his shot attempts. Yeah. I think he'll lead this team in scoring. They'll have moments. They'll need him to be able to have those moments, but –
they could have 5 guys in double figures.
They did.
They did.
They could have 5. I mean, at the end of the year, they could have 5 guys in double figures.
No question.
The unsung hero in some ways, to me, we haven't mentioned him yet, is Pelle Larsson.
Yeah.
Made every right play.
He did.
Made every right play. Made a huge 3. Moves the ball. Defends.
He knows what he is.
He knows what he is. I think a lot of the guys
Buddy, they all do, right? Like, that's the thing about it is they kind of they're all kind of bought into what their role is supposed to be. And to me, the thing that really stood out was they go 8 deep, legitimately 8 deep. Like, KJ Lewis came in and played 14 minutes off the bench, did some good things. Your guy, the big fella Krivas, came in. He missed a bunch of layups and a bunch of bunnies, but he was big and 7-1, got a bunch of offensive rebounds. He made the impact that the Duke guys didn't inside. Jaden Bradley I thought he missed a couple free throws and he didn't really shoot the ball well, but what he provided on the defensive end.
He's not going to shoot.
That's not what he does. Right?
Yeah.
His defense.
How quick did he go from grabbing the ball off the rim?
He put so much pressure. He put so much pressure on your defense. Yeah. And that's what he does, kicking out to his shooters. And he knows it. Again, they know their role and they're accepting of their roles.
And they don't have a lot of, like, the same. You know what I mean?
Everybody brings
they don't have – they're all a little bit different. I like them. I mean, and again, listen, the biggest thing, we talked about all their guys, they got some MFers there.
Mm-hmm.
They got some guys. I mean, you don't come in and win at Cameron, where I'll give you the numbers here. Coach K, 572 and 76 in his career at Cameron. That's 88% of the games. That's not even non-conference. So non-conference, my guess is Coach K was like 97%.
Well, he didn't play games like this.
First loss.
Right.
Yeah, but he didn't play games like this. And I think that's we'll expand on this more later, but I think it's an important point to make that, like, this loss is not going to hurt Duke at all.
Right? You wonder how Shire feels right now. Like, how do you think he's feeling after this one?
I think he's probably happy about it in some aspect because I think the things that concerned him about his team was his guards rebounding. They didn't tonight. And they gave him all the ammunition he needed because he was like, hey, if we're going to play this small ball lineup, you guys got to rebound. And he's tinkering it. And they from playing Filipowski at the 4 and then going big and then keeping him at the 5.
Yeah.
They were out-rebounded by 14 in the first half and gave up 11 offensive rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough to sustain against a team like that. In the first half, they actually out-rebounded Arizona in the second half and cut the deficit to maybe 11 to 12.
Do you know who the biggest the first member of the Tyrese Proctor fan club
was me.
The president.
It was me.
It was me. Right away.
Yeah.
Season ended. All right, so I want to ask you, how concerned are you now watching him in person? It was a no-show game for Tyrese Proctor.
I don't think it was. I think no-show is too harsh. Right? I think no-show is a little too harsh. I think what happened was he got a pretty serious wake-up call in terms of what you need to be in order to play at this level, right? Because we kind of got that a little bit with Tennessee last year, right? Like the thing that happened with them in the tournament was they ran into a team that was tougher and more physical. And what we all kind of assumed was like, okay, you're going to go in the offseason. Tyrese Proctor's going to hit the weight room. He's going to, pack on a couple pounds. He's going to hit the squat rack. He's going to hit the bench, and he's going to be able to handle that better as a sophomore. And he didn't really do that. Like to me, that's the concerning part.
You don't think a no-show is fair? And again, I love Proctor.
No. The criticism's fair because I thought he spent way too much time on the perimeter for a 6'5" guard.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He spins weight. He got to get downhill, get in the paint. He's too big. He's a 6'5" guard, and tonight he played like a 6-foot guard.
Kyle Boswell's how tall?
Yeah, here's what I'll
Boswell?
say. Goodman, here's
that
what
dude lived in the lane.
He did.
Here's what I'll say about that. I as you guys are right about what Tyrese Proctor did and the way the Duke played, but I don't think that this was a Duke thing. I think this was an Arizona thing. Arizona went in there. It's not like Duke gave the game away.
Intensity and their toughness.
But I don't know
Proctor
if you
didn't
can
do that.
I don't know if he can. That's the point that I'm making. Is that like
he has to be, or he can't be on people's All-American list if he's not going to step up.
You're right.
At home,
yeah.
no, he's got to be more aggressive and more assertive.
Super
And he just spent way too much time on the perimeter. Just kind of. It's almost like if he's a quarterback. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He didn't try to make anything. He just came off. He just reversed the ball. He swung the ball. And we're talking about a guy who's a first-round draft pick, who we're saying is a first-team All-American.
He looked like a freshman.
He played like
He did. And I know people are going to say, but he reclassified like he should
but
be
he
a
had a
freshman.
whole year.
You know who else did?
Yeah,
Kylan Boswell. Listen, my point about Arizona winning it is I was very, very impressed with them. I was more impressed with Arizona than I was worried about Duke, because like I think Tyrese Proctor will figure it out. Jeremy Roach made big shots. Filipowski was awesome, but I was very, very impressed with Arizona. We were able to hear from Arizona's head coach Tommy Lloyd after the game. We caught up with him and we were able to talk with him about what he did during the offseason to be able to get this out of his program.
All right, Tommy, you come into Cameron, second game of the year, and you get a win. What does this mean? You know, again, the way you got it to toughness, Boswell, all your guys produced tonight. What did it mean for you?
Well, we got some dogs, and it means a lot for me, I mean, win or lose, there's no trophy today, and it honestly probably won't really impact your overall season that much. But to come here and have your guys understand if we hang with it and believe in each other, we can get this type of win. I think it'll help us really take that next step and kind of build some more conviction for some of the things we value.
I thought Boswell might have been the best player on the court tonight. Overall, everything he did, toughness, control, made shots when he needed to, set guys up. Yeah. Just how much is his impact in terms of from a year ago to now?
Well, but there's a reason I asked him to come early, because I believe in him. And I felt like for him to maximize this year, we needed to build a foundation the year before. And, maybe that's a little bit old school, but I really think that helps kids. And so I'm really proud of him. I mean, Kylan's a great kid. I feel like a lot of our guys had really good moments tonight. I mean, I feel like all 8 guys that played had, like, really cool moments. So I'm excited. I love this group of dudes. And, I can't wait to get on the plane, get home, and get back to practice.
This game, you guys set it up. You and Shire are buddies. I've talked all week about how, honestly, there haven't been a lot of great games. And this one, in this atmosphere, is different, too, from a neutral game. How much do you think coaches need to step up and play these type of games?
Listen, I'm not going to tell any coach how to schedule, obviously.
But for the game, for college basketball.
Right. But my mentor, Mark Few, look how he schedules. So that's what I know. And your players love playing in these games. And we're not scared of anything or anybody. So, we're not scared of losing because it's part of the deal. So, yeah, I mean, I wish more people play these type of games, and I'm sure the next few weeks we'll have more. But, but hey, also scheduling's not easy. I'll say that too.
Did you hear the Duke, the Cameron Crazies yelling safety school after the game? I got offended.
Yeah, well, did they know you graduated from there?
I know, they should see.
I
worked for that degree. It took me almost 6 years.
That does not help our academic integrity that you went there. No, we're like literally yeah. I mean,
I was going to fight them all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Hey, I'm just glad to have you back on our side.
No, it's good to see you. Congrats.
Right, congrats.
One.
I didn't think it was too bad.
Tommy Lloyd was a happy man after this game tonight. I think you guys, we gave him credit already, but I think you really have to give them props, not just for winning the game, but actually being willing to play the game, fly across the country on a Friday, and walk into this building, this arena, this atmosphere, which was, by the way, I forgot how loud this building gets. There were points in time when I was like, I might be going deaf here sitting on the sideline. Goodman, as he's sitting on that private jet right now, as he's sipping on the the PBRs, we may or may not see them walk out of the locker room with. How do you think he's feeling?
No, really good. Really good. He's having a few beers right now on the private plane. He says all the right things, but, man, he's feeling good. Anytime you can go into Cameron and beat Duke, come on. You're telling me –
Randolph, you know what that feels like, right?
I've won here a few times. I made sure to let Grant Hill know that tonight when I saw him, too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know that feeling. You know that feeling.
Yeah.
What is it like when you walk out of this building with a win?
You know this team will be in a tournament. They have the talent. They're as talented as any team in the country. And you went on the road. You took your team in the second game of the year on the road and won in this environment. The confidence that it's going to give this group, there's not a game on this schedule that they're going to walk into and have any doubt that they can win. That's what it does.
And one of the reasons for that is Kylan Boswell. Coming up next, we're going to hear from the guy that Jeff Goodman has called the toughest MFer that he's seen so far this season. College basketball season kicks off this week, and there's no better way to get prepared for the wild finishes, the bad beats, and the total unpredictability of the sport that we all love than by purchasing access to the Almanac, a project that we at the Field of 68 partnered on with 3-Man Weave, Heat Check CBB, and Verbal Commits. Unlike last season, the Almanac is no longer a PDF. Rather, it is a website that features more than 1,500 words on each and every one of the 362 Division I teams in college basketball. We wrote more than 800,000 words in total. We spoke to every single Division I head coach to get a feel for the rosters, the rotation, the projected starter lineups, and what they think their team is going to look like this year. For everyone, from the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors, they deserve to be covered like they matter. And over at the Almanac, that is precisely what we do. Access costs just $19.99 for the year and can be purchased at the link in the description below. And now, back to our show. Welcome back. Field of 68 After Dark, live from Cameron Indoor Stadium, where we just watched Arizona beat Duke 78-73. Jeff, Kylan Boswell, 12 points, 8 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, a block in there for good measure, 4 for 7 from the floor. And I don't know if this is an actual stat that they kept, but I would say 99% of the decisions that he made tonight were the right decision.
He made one bad one. He took an errant early three in the shot clock, and he went right over to Tommy Lloyd and was like, my bad. He's a leader. You can see it right away. He is a leader. He is the leader of this team because
you want to know how you know? You see the guys, how they react to him.
They all know he's an MFer. They see it. We see it. The dude's diving on the floor like he was doing everything tonight. Like I just, again, to me, he sets the tone for this team. And again, you look at this Arizona program under Tommy Lloyd, and it's like, all right, well, they're going to be like, Gonzaga South, right? They're going to be this skilled team that's soft, that we're going to be able to beat them up. Well, you ain't going to be able to beat this team up. No way.
You can't beat them up. They're too tough. They got big guards. I mean,
big forwards.
They're just
big everything.
They're physically imposing when you walk out there and see them. I mean,
they're Boswell looks like what?
Grown men. Literally, their roster, their starting group.
He looks like he should be an outside linebacker for the Arizona football team. He is built.
I know.
Like, you don't realize it until you walk next to him and you're like, that dude is wider than me. I'm not small.
Like you said, we harped on it. Arizona in the past was just this offense free flowing and pace. We saw that. And then now this team with Johnson and these guys and Boswell, they're physical, they defend, and they're tough.
You know what my favorite thing that they did was that there was this little tweak that they threw at it. Whenever Ryan Young was in the game and he would catch the ball at the top of the key, they would drop whoever was guarding him right in front of the rim, and they would face guard everybody else on the floor. And they said, yeah, good luck, Ryan. Go make a play.
And they were blowing up the dribble handoffs, and the guards were just struggling to get the ball. I mean, they were physically – that's the first thing I wrote down. I just thought, like, hey, they're physically mangling the guards.
Mm-hmm. And, again, like, McCain's going to get better. Let's face it. Like, Jared McCain's talented. He's going to get better. He's in his second game of his college career. He's going up against guards who have played a lot of – I mean, Caleb Love's played a ton
that's the thing about Kylan Boswell is that
he's
basically the same age as Jared McCain. And when you speak to him, as Jeff did after the game tonight, you probably wouldn't be able to tell just how how young he actually is. We were able to catch up with Kylan Boswell just this evening.
Good teaser, Rob.
All right, Kai, you come into Cameron Indoor Stadium and come away with a victory. Not too many teams do that. What was it that you were able to pull this off?
I think it was just all of us as a team. You know, we were very focused on this game. We came with a great preparation plan. Our coaches put a plan installed for us. I feel like we executed perfection, and we just took care of business.
So I feel like everybody was talking about Tyrese Proctor coming into this game. Did you take this personally a little bit?
This game was definitely personal for me. I just let the media and people how they feel, let them talk when they talk. Just got in the gym, worked, and I was just getting mentally prepared for this game. Very excited. Like I said, our team executed our coach's plan to perfection.
What did this show about your toughness? Because I think, again, for you, for some of the other Arizona players, you know, West Coast, Pac-12. Yeah. I know you're not going to be in the Pac-12 for much longer, but, you know, you hear it soft, right?
Yeah.
Did you want to show that tonight a little bit?
Definitely want to change the narrative of how we are, you know, become. Technically, I'm not from the West Coast, but I played with West Coast basketball for the last 4 years, so I can claim a part of that for me. But yeah, definitely there's some dogs out there. I definitely came out. I feel like I came out here and showed that part of the game.
All right, thanks, Guy. Congrats.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
That was Kylan Boswell, who had as big of an impact, I would think, as anybody on Jared McCain's off night, I think you would say. Tyrese Proctor's off night, as we discussed. I thought Jeremy Roach and Kyle Filipowski were both
good,
both terrific tonight,
and they should be. They were they're the veterans, so to speak.
So let me ask you this: we came into the season with the almanac as Duke, the preseason #1 team in college basketball. As we sit here today, having seen them just lose on their home floor, how worried are you about where they are, what they are, and who they will be in March?
I mean, listen, I'm worried because I don't think, and again, seeing it in person is different. I'm worried because they don't have a lot of physicality, they don't have a lot up front other than Filipowski's at his best when he's at the 4. Let's face it. That's what he is. He's a 4. He's not really a 5, right? They need another big with him, and it's not Ryan Young. You know, they need a big that like a Umar Ballo type where Flip can go out, play in the perimeter a little bit more. Now he can do it offensively, but they just don't have that other dude up front. I think they're missing one guy up front. I think McCain he's gonna be there. I'm not worried about him. Proctor is gonna get better. This is an off night for Tyrese Proctor. This isn't gonna be the norm. So I think
you hope.
Yeah, I think we saw Proctor's D performance, and he's going to end up being an A-B guard. Roach is what he is. I think that's going to be Jeremy Roach. But I think, again, can you get McCain and Foster? Those are going to be – and Mitchell was great early. He was so good early setting the tone. And then I think, again, he's not going to give you a ton offensively.
What happened was, and I think it was a really smart decision by Tommy, and it was part of what I was mentioning with Ryan Young at the top, is that they forced Mark Mitchell to be a decision maker and to try to be a playmaker, and they dared him to make shots, and he kind of fell into the trap a little bit. One of the things that happened down the stretch was I thought Duke played much, much better in the second half. I thought that you can make the argument they were probably the better team in the second half. Jeremy Roach made a bunch of big shots. Kyle Filipowski made a bunch of big shots. But every time you got to that one big critical possession, there was a Kyle Filipowski, he backed someone down and threw up a bad shot over his shoulder. There was the 3 Mark Mitchell took at the top of the key. There was one where
the
Mark
crowd
Mitchell
never exploded. And they never got the crowd to explode.
Yeah, they never had that moment where they took that lead, right? And you were like, okay, now they've gotten over the hump. And part of that is credit to Arizona's defense. Part of that is, I would say, the issue that we've had with Tyrese Proctor and some of his decision-making and his ability to get them into offense. And part of that is RC. I think the biggest issue with this team long-term is the 4 spot. What do you do with Filipowski? What do you do with Mark Mitchell? Is Mitchell big enough to kind of be a 5 defensively?
I think you can. I was going to say, I think Mitchell's physical enough that you can get away with matching him up on some 5s. I think he's strong enough and athletic enough. They need his toughness defensively because he is the best defender on this team. Yeah. Part of Duke's problem is they got this free-flowing offense now with these 3 guards. 5 of their first 6 shots tonight were 3s. Mm-hmm. And they're playing outside in. And then with those three guards, if you're starting 3-point guards, dribble penetration, put pressure on the rim. That's my – last year when during the year when Kansas struggled, we should talk about DeJuan Harris and say, hey, you're not even trying to score. That's what Tyrese Proctor looked like to me. Now, he had shown some aggressiveness before. Then he gets in this game, and he just went into that, hey, I just got to be the quarterback of this thing. He needs to be more aggressive if Duke's going to take the next step. They don't need him just to be the quarterback.
There's a little – I don't want to – like too cool for school feels like the wrong way to phrase it, but there's a little bit like passivity with him where it's kind of like you want him to be a little bit more aggressive. You know what I mean?
You know what he looks like, and I don't know this to be true. As far as in his past, when I watch him play, he looks like a guy that I say he is making the transition to a point guard. Like I wonder if he grew up playing a point guard because he's a big guard. He's 6'5". He's always a big guard.
Yeah,
and I wonder that. Because
right. Tonight you didn't see any
but,
of it.
But when the coach is asking you, Shire's asking him to be more aggressive. He's telling this kid, be aggressive, go score, go shoot. He's asking him to be this way. And he looks like a guy that just, I don't know if he's come up being a point guard or not, or if he just thinks that's, but he's, for a guy of his size and his ability, he just spends way too much time outside the 3-point line for a 6'5" guard. Like he's athletic enough to get up there, finish at the rim. He should live in the paint at his size. And if he's not going to do that, then his team is going to struggle. They need him to be that next guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, if he can drive and kick, too, you're getting those guys open threes.
Yeah.
Those freshmen, instead of having to take contested threes.
They need it because he can make it easier for everybody. They need him to be aggressive because now Mitchell will get offensive tip-ins or backdoor cuts. Filipowski gets some bunnies. Roach can get some threes. McCain can get a three early in there. He has to live in the paint.
The concern that I have with that is I feel like he is a guy, since he's 6'5", like he's not the quickest dude in the world. Like he kind of gets by a little bit on like I understand how to use my body. I understand how to use my strength. I understand how to use change of pace. And he ran into a team with a bunch of guards that were stronger than him, that could climb up underneath him and kind of took away what he does best. And if he's not going to be able to do
they really get up in him that much, though?
I'm with you. I think it was.
I don't think they got up in him that much. I think he was just passive.
I think he's just passive. I think
it's a combination of both. But like he couldn't do what he does best against guys that were.
But I don't think he tried.
So let me ask you guys.
I think he has the ability to do it.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this. This performance, did it change what you think Duke's ceiling can be? Have you changed your opinion of what they are at all this season?
Zero.
They're still the most talented team.
Zero.
This is still the most talented roster in college basketball. It's just they play so many different ways. And we talked about it. With this 3-guard lineup, like tonight, Shire said this before. If we're going to win, we got to rebound. Boswell got 8 rebounds. McCain, Roach, and Proctor combined for 8 rebounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They got out-rebounded by 14. So and then if you're not scoring, like for example, Proctor was 3 for 9, 1 of 6 for 3. If you're not scoring, what are you doing? And then the small.
And you're putting too much pressure on Filipowski.
You're putting way too much on Philip and Mitchell and everything else. It's the guards got to rebound, and then Proctor just needs to be more aggressive offensively, just putting pressure on the rim. He's going to draw fouls and create opportunities for other guys.
So coming up next for Duke is Michigan State in the Champions Classic. Michigan State has some of their own issues heading into this season. That was the matchup that everybody kind of had circled, and it's like all of a sudden, you know what? Maybe
is that the early game or the late game? Early?
I don't remember, but it was a top 5 matchup.
I think it's the early.
I think it's not going to be a top 5 matchup anymore.
It's an undercard. Yeah. It's a clear undercard right now.
So who wins? Give me a prediction. Who wins?
Oh boy!
Well, you know what? Let me phrase it better.
Game.
Who is this game more important for, Duke or Michigan State?
Probably Michigan State with the way they've shot the ball lately. Like if they shoot it bad again,
they're 2 for 31.
Imagine if they go like 1 for 15 again.
RC,
Izzo's going to go out of his mind.
They were third nationally in all of college basketball. Third nationally in all of college basketball last season in 3-point shooting. They're 2 for 31. They're the first team in 15 years, first Division I team to go 2 for 31 in the first 2 games.
And we thought they were like a good shooting team.
They were third in the country last year.
And they returned almost everybody.
I'll push back and say this, that it's equally as effective game against Duke psychologically because you're going against another physical, high major team.
Yeah.
Experience.
Oh, agreed. Agreed.
Well,
I think it's even. I think it's a toss-up.
Both team needs it.
Like whoever loses that
is in trouble.
The sky's going to be falling.
Yes.
We're going to have so many clickbait headlines on the field of 68 that say
sky,
the season is
whoever
over.
Loses it,
cancel it.
Season's over. According to our
Jeff Goodman is going to put Tom Izzo on the hot seat if Michigan State loses.
Oh, man, that's
Listen,
going to be tough.
Duke
we're going to bring Kay back. If Shire loses, we're bringing him out of retirement.
So Duke got all of the hype this preseason, right? But we forgot about the team that won 6 of the last 10 ACC regular season title. Coming up next, I'm going to ask these guys, is Virginia the ACC favorite again? As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook for this college basketball season. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks and predictions throughout the college basketball season. And we are going to have special offers for you, the listeners and the viewers on the Field of 68 each and every week during the season. If you haven't signed up with BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FIELD1500 and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager on BetMGM Sportsbook. Here's what you got to do. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD1500. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FIELD1500 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient for me when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly. When crossing state borders, just log into your existing account instead of having to create new accounts in each state that you go to. And most importantly, I got to let you know, we do have some fun stuff coming up for this college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, my personal favorite, parlay odds boosts. So download the BetMGM app today.
Sean Purdue can't be your best player.
No.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 live from Cameron Indoor Stadium. Jeff Goodman, Randolph Childress, Rob Dauster here.
Does this hurt you to have to sit here with a backdrop being a big Duke emblem?
Maybe if
Duke
Duke
look
won.
back at it.
No,
Maybe
I'm
if Duke
not
won.
sure. No, I'm very comfortable here.
Okay, all right.
He
Good
just
to know.
I'm going to put a little behind the scenes here. I'm going to put a little behind the scenes here. When Randolph walked in, every time he opened a door, he just squirted his hand with hand sanitizer.
I did. That's true. I started scratching.
So the other big game of the night in the ACC, Virginia beat Florida in what was a back and forth affair. It was actually quite entertaining. Had a wild ending that involved Corey Alexander, like maybe or maybe not, calling the officials over to see a replay, and Tony Bennett completely losing his mind on him. I've never seen that, by the way. Tony Bennett was cursing out. Well, I don't know if he was cursing, but he was yelling. He was yelling at Corey Alexander. I believe he was saying, "Just do your job."
Yeah.
Just do your job, when Corey Alexander was pretty much doing his job. But so Virginia beat Florida.
Give the background of where Corey played.
Virginia.
There you go.
That's probably why Tony was so mad.
And credit to Corey. He got it right.
Yeah.
It's a misunderstanding.
It was a misunderstanding. He was just doing what the rest asked him to do. But so Virginia won 73-70. They got 18 points from Blake Buchanan off the bench. This is a team that I know you were high on in the preseason, RC. I had questions about the way that they were building their program, but they look pretty good. This is not a bad Florida. This is
I don't know why
Florida
anybody
team
would question it. And I think they're going to be better this year because they're going to be better offensively. They're always going to defend. They're always going to defend. And so now he has better offensive players. Now, when he gets pros, look out. But they're going to be tough defensively. They're always going to control the pace of the game. And if they can score 70-plus points like they did tonight, they're going to win a lot of games. That's not a team you want to play.
Anybody else had this roster?
Oh, no.
I'd be like, there's no way
they're not making the tournament.
They can make the tournament.
Can't make the tournament.
Now it's almost like, again, like Blake Buchanan. I remember him telling me about Blake Buchanan when I did the almanac. And he's like, yeah, I got this big kid from Coeur d'Alene, and like, yeah, he may be good eventually. I don't really know. Like, Tony is the ultimate in my team's not that good. Every year. It doesn't matter who he has.
They are the best at identifying what fits what they're trying to do. And that's just it. They get the player. They don't care about the rankings. And get guys that fit into what we're trying to do.
Like the one thing, I had a long conversation with him at the PTM about this about because I said to him straight out, I'm like Tony, like I could see you pulling a Jay Wright soon and retire because again, he's not really an NIL guy.
No, that'll hurt him.
All that, and what he said was interesting, which was like if I can't retain these guys and get them better, we need guys that stay in our program because, like you're saying, identify and develop
guys.
That's where Virginia gets it done, right? Kyle Guy comes in at 150 pounds, and he was pretty good as a freshman, but he was damn good when they won it all.
No, I think Ryan Dunn's going to be the next kid to come out of there, the next pro prospect.
And he waited.
That he's going to wait. He's sophomore, and he's going to get time. And guys will develop there. I think if they stay, the success that they had in the past.
Yeah.
But those are the guys that they get. They don't get kids coming in there with the thinking I'm one and done. They're like, hey.
I mean, for a little bit they did like
you had to do
like
that, capitalizing off the national championship run.
Right.
The caliber of kids.
Did they screw up almost not getting kids that
I
fit?
think they got a little frustrated with that because then they brought in Abdul Rahim and then he ends up transferring. So they brought in a lot of high level kids and then realized. I would say this. I wondered if they didn't enjoy coaching that group of kids as much as some of these kids where they're like, look, bring your lunch pail, let's go to work.
That's right.
I think that's more their style as opposed to we won a national championship. A lot of kids, ranked kids, pro prospect kids want to come, you take them. It's hard to turn those kids down. But then you get them there and you're like, and then the headache comes with that. And you're like, you know what? Tony's a no-nonsense. You got to defend. And he doesn't care what your ranking is. If you don't defend, you can't play for him.
Right.
And I think that's what struggles. And we see that with some other teams. And it doesn't matter with Tony. He's going to have a veteran guy. And he's like, I don't care what your ranking is. If you don't defend, you can't play for me.
So let's talk about this specific group. Is there enough there right now to be able to compete at the top of the ACC that has a Duke team that we are still saying is going to be really, really good, that has a North Carolina team that still has quite a bit of talent, that has Clemson, who I don't know if we have a final yet in the UAB.
They won. They pulled it out against UAB.
Come back, win over UAB. A Miami team that nobody is talking about. That's just over here steamrolling all these opponents that they're playing right now. Does Virginia have enough to not just like be in the mix at the top, but like actually make a run and win the league?
They have been the best program in the ACC for the last 6-7 years. Like
6-7. More
winning is it? Yeah, they've been in winning program.
6 of the last 10.
The record
6 of the last 10. 6 of the last 10 regular season titles.
Tony Bennett over the last 10 years.
Yeah, they've been the best program in the ACC.
And I showed you a compared to Coach K's over the same period of time.
He's
and
the
Roy
best.
Williams over the same period
He's the
of time.
best.
And Boeheim.
He's the best.
He destroyed Boeheim.
He's the best.
He destroyed Roy.
He's the best.
It's amazing.
Listen, this is the time where we're going to have to talk about Vaulted. Vaulted is an app that allows you to participate in daily cash prize pools without an entry fee. Yes, you. It is a place that you can store your predictions forever. And by using the Vaulted Challenge feature, you can prove that you're smarter than your associates. I don't want to say friends. So go download the Vaulted app.
The other morons at the table.
VLTED. It's but while Goodman's not talking over me, it's VLTED, the Vaulted app. It's for a free trial. And challenge your friends, store your predictions, and join daily cash prize pools without an entry fee. Goodman, here's my challenge to you.
I don't like when you point at me.
Here's my challenge to you. Here's my challenge to you.
Didn't your mom tell you not to point at people?
I am saying that Virginia's going to win the ACC regular season title this year. Do you accept my challenge?
Yeah, I accept your challenge. And I said, no way in hell. I'm still taking this team. This team that lost tonight at Cameron, I think they have a much higher upside. And they played a really, really, really good team tonight too. By the way, not that Virginia didn't play a good team, they did, but Florida is not Arizona. Let's be honest.
Virginia will be there in the end.
Right.
They'll be there in the end. They've always been that way. Doesn't matter who's playing on that jersey; they're just going to be there.
That's just
is
what
Tony
they do.
Bennett a top 5 coach in the country? Is he a top 10 coach in the country?
I think he's the most underrated, underappreciated coach in the country.
Oh no, I disagree. I think he's properly rated at this point, right? Like I think
he got hammered.
If you get a list of guys, because also now we're coming off of last year's upset.
Right. That didn't
and then the first thing they do is they go back and because they criticize how they play and the style because no one wants to play against it, and they consistently criticize it. And because no one wants to emulate it and that commitment that it takes to do that at a high major level. Like, what other high major Power 5 school plays like Virginia?
Nobody.
None.
And I just think that I don't think people appreciate how great of a coach that he is and how he does it. Because I don't know. I'll say this.
So you talked right around my question, by the way.
No. I'm saying it to you guys. I think he's
top 10
easily. I think he's top 5.
Top 5.
Now with Boeheim and Kay and Roy and them gone. Don't give me these flash in the pan guys. I'm talking about a 10-year resume. My question is, who's better?
And again, dominated the ACC in the regular season every year.
And he's won a national championship. So my question would be, I'm saying to you guys, if he isn't number one, then who is? Like, who's number one?
The guy down in Lawrence.
Yeah.
I'll give you Bill. I'll give you Bill. I'll give you Bill. I'll give you Bill. But no, I'll say this.
Mark
I won't. No, I'm not giving you a few.
Here's where I stand on it. Here's where I stand on it. And then
there are a few. All I'm saying is there's some other dudes.
But that's my point. Those are the sexier picks.
Well,
and for the job that he has at UVA, we're comparing a UVA job to Kansas. Like that shouldn't even compare.
Here's what I would say is what Bill Self has done in his tenure at Kansas. I think makes him. You have to put him number one at this point.
He's the best. Izzo's my favorite. But this guy here is special.
Once you get past Self, I think you can make an argument for about 8 or 9 different guys. And Tony Bennett is one of those guys.
No.
And probably one of the ones.
And he does it different.
Yeah.
No.
Let's talk. We talked about Virginia, the place that Tony Bennett's at now. Let's talk about the place that he started. His father started, Wisconsin. They lost tonight to Tennessee at home. I want to talk about Tennessee first. I'm making a pivot here. This is what I'm doing. Tennessee scored 80 points tonight against a team in Wisconsin that is known for defense, for slowing the ball down. You said, is there another team that plays like Virginia?
Wisconsin
It's
does.
probably Wisconsin.
They certainly did.
24 Dalton Connect. JUCO transfer, 5th-year guy, went to Northern Colorado and is coming out. And look, we saw what he did against Michigan State in that exhibition. We saw what he did tonight against Wisconsin. Like, if Tennessee can score and they still have those principles of toughness, like, are we just kind of sitting here ignoring the fact that this team's got a dude that's going to average like 18 or 19 points a game?
If they're transfers, and we just saw Connect score 24 tonight, they need scoring from their freshmen and their transfers. If they do that, the depth that this team has, the toughness and the way they defend, look out. Because then they'll be able to play any style and beat anybody. They're going to be physical. They're going to defend. If they can get this consistent scoring from Connect and then the freshmen, just offensively, because it was painful watching those guys shoot last year.
Painful.
It was painful watching them shoot last year. If they get consistent shooting, and tonight they didn't shoot it great, but if they can get some consistent shooting from different guys, just a threat, they're a tough out. They're clearly, to me, they'll be the best team in the SEC.
Listen, Rick Barnes finally did. I don't know if somebody wore him down or what. I mean, listen, at Texas, he had dudes who could score.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he had these teams at Tennessee back when he was at Texas or Providence. What he did is he brought in a kid in Dalton Connect who can score the hell out of it and can't really guard.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Great.
But he got enough defensive guys over there. You
exactly.
Got enough guys.
That's what you needed.
You just need him to be a willing defender.
Correct.
In that system.
Don't be brutal.
Yeah.
Be average. You can be average.
You put him on the worst guy. You put him on the shooter.
But he's athletic.
And as long as you come in with a level of toughness and at least like try.
Right.
If you try hard enough, you have enough guys on that team that can erase.
If he's not there tonight, they lose this game on the road.
Yeah, and here's the other thing about it is they were so good defensively and so bad offensively that like you could take a pretty big step down. They're still probably like a top 5 defensive team in America.
This is exactly the guy you needed. A guy that could just score the hell out of it from all 3 levels. Way more athletic than people thought coming from Northern Colorado. Right? I mean,
well, be honest. You saw a guy named Dalton. You're like, yeah, he can't do anything. And then he comes out, he's dunking on everybody.
No, he's pretty athletic.
They just got so much depth too. This is a deep team. Yeah. This team has so much depth. They're going to be a tough out.
Ziegler played 19 minutes tonight.
He's coming back. Yeah, he's not even healthy.
He's not even close to back yet.
No.
They could be good because finally they can win without having to grind out a win.
Yeah.
And man, like it was ugly for a while.
And I will say this, just because we started talking about Wisconsin, I'm still in on this team. I'm still in on them being like
on Wisconsin.
I'm being like a top 25-ish, like a top 7, top 8.
I don't see it yet. Not yet.
I think wait until AJ Storr doesn't play against this defense. I think that
but what's different from them from last year?
AJ Storr. I think AJ Storr is going to have the kind of impact that Dalton Connect will.
Okay.
And if he doesn't, then I'll eat crow on this one. I'll take the L. But if AJ Storr is that kind of offensive weapon, you brought him in and brought everybody back. You got a dude that can go out and get you like 15 on a given night, and you brought everybody else back. I'm in on Wisconsin. Listen, it was a wild night in college basketball. It felt, even though all the games were crammed into the 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. window. When we come back, I'm going to ask these guys what the most surprising result was that they saw tonight. College basketball season kicks off this week, and there's no better way to get prepared for the wild finishes, the bad beats, and the total unpredictability of the sport that we all love than by purchasing access to the Almanac, a project that we at the Field of 68 partnered on with 3-Man Weave, Heat Check CVB, and Verbal Commits. Unlike last season, the Almanac is no longer a PDF. Rather, it is a website that features more than 1,500 words on each and every one of the 362 Division I teams in college basketball. We wrote more than 800,000 words in total. We spoke to every single Division I head coach to get a feel for the rosters, the rotation, the projected starter lineups, and what they think their team is going to look like this year. For everyone, from the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors, they deserve to be covered like they matter. And over at the Almanac, that is precisely what we do. Access costs just $19.99 for the year and can be purchased at the link in the description below. And now, back to our show. Welcome back. Field of 68 After Dark live. Durham, North Carolina, Cameron Indoor Stadium. I got Jeff Goodman. I got Randolph Childress. My name is Rob Dauster. It was a wild night, guys. There was a lot of great games that I kind of wish would have been spread out a little bit more. When I would turn on ESPN on a Thursday night, you see like celebrity cornhole going on. You see a little bit of celebrity pickleball on a Wednesday night. We could have used a little bit of Yale Gonzaga on our TV sets then. Memphis beat Missouri in Columbia 70-55. We had Texas A&M going into Columbus and beating Ohio State 73-66. We saw Maryland lose to Davidson in the same building where Clemson won on a last-second shot to beat UAB. I'm going to make the argument that the most important result that we saw tonight that did not happen in this building came in Provo, Utah, where last year's national runner-up, San Diego State, ranked number 17th in the country, goes on the road to Big 12 member BYU and loses 74-65. Goodman, tell me why I'm wrong.
No, I think you could be right because for the Mountain West, this was very important. That's where it might hurt. Now, the Mountain West has got to pick up the slack for San Diego State now. They got to win some games maybe they shouldn't, right? Boise's got to obviously have a strong non-conference slate. And obviously, San Diego State's going to have other opportunities here. But this is one that you expected them to get because BYU really wasn't very good last year, and nobody expected them to be very good this year.
Yeah, no, I didn't think anybody expected that one to lose that game. I know it's a road win. I was shocked when I saw that score. We were following the game. I thought with the guard play of San Diego State.
Well, I play that game too, by the way. It's a dangerous game to play this early.
Mm-hmm. It is, but if I have the returning players that I have coming off a national runner-up game, I think I'm prepared. And I need to challenge my team early to kind of get us over the hump.
And you want to know why you play that game? You want to know why you play that game? Yeah. Because it's good for the sport, right? No, we put these challenges out to all these other coaches. I'm going to celebrate it. Look, and I will also say this. That loss, when it comes to Selection Sunday, is not going to hurt San Diego State. Because at the bare minimum, that is going to be a quad 2 loss.
They got St. Mary's coming up. They're going to need that one.
More likely than not, that'll be a quad 1 loss.
They also have they have 2 non-D1s. They always play 2 non-D1s. Always. So it's like if they lose this St. Mary's game, let's say they lose St. Mary's, you don't have much else on the non-conference here, guys. You just don't. You have Stanford. That's not going to get you anything. Like
what you can ill afford to do is drop out of top 25.
Yeah, you have Gonzaga, you have St. Mary's. You have to split those, or else you're going to have to win the Mountain West potentially.
Yeah,
you might.
You got to avoid bad losses like this. Right. I won't call it a bad loss early, but you can't have any during a year.
It just it's one of those. It's a little like you said. It's definitely surprising because
I'm
Dutch is so positive, too, about his team.
Yeah.
That's the other part. Like, you listen to Dutch talk to us when we're out there in Vegas, and it was just like, all right, we're going to be back, man. We're not missing a beat.
Nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
I'm gonna flip it on you. I'm going to say that this says more about BYU. They put 5 guys in double figures. You had Dallin Hall, who a sophomore, scored 18 points and have 3 assists. You had Jackson Robinson, who Mark Pope hyped up this offseason. He was at Arkansas. He was at another place that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but it looks like he's finally found a home where, a 6'8" athletic combo forward kind of a guy can have a little bit of success. So I think that this is going to end up, we're going to look up at this result in February and say that this said more about BYU than it did San Diego State.
They got 3 guys off the bench tonight in double figures, and that doesn't happen very often. So we'll see. I hadn't seen a lot of BYU. They got my attention now.
And you know what else?
They got my attention now.
With what San Diego State lost, you know what? There is going to be a little bit of a learning curve. They will be back. Dutch has that program rolling. Yep. They are always very, very good, but I don't think any of us should be surprised that there's a little bit of a bump in the road there. How about Memphis going into Missouri and beating Missouri after finding out that they're not going to have DeAndre Williams available? I know what Missouri lost. I know that Kobe Brown's gone. I know that I think they're 2 of their top 3 scorers from last season. But still, that one is one that I'm looking at a little bit like, wow, I don't know where that came from.
It's important. It's important because look at Memphis' non-conference. I give Penny a ton of credit because, he's got a couple bye games in there early. Jackson State, Alabama State next. But Michigan, Ole Miss, VCU, Texas A&M, Clemson, Virginia, Vandy. I mean, really? Like, this was important. This was a very important game because now you got a lot of opportunities, but you don't know how you're going to be with this team. It's a completely different team than what he had last year.
You know why he had to do it? They got a little bit of a Gonzaga situation going on because Houston's not in that conference anymore.
Right.
So it's basically like you got them and FAU, and that's about all you got when it comes to having a chance to win.
I was still surprised, too, because of what they lost. I mean, we're still talking about even we forget about Williams was supposed to be coming in, and his legal battles were coming in school. You had Mikey Williams. You're supposed to have him and just
yeah, those are two starters.
2 starters,
now,
essentially.
Again, you couldn't rely on DeAndre Williams getting him. Let's face it. He's like 42 years old.
He made it this far. In today's times, who knows? I don't put anything past anybody. But, no, I mean, I don't know how much he was relying on him, but I know how good this team would have been if he had him.
Yeah, no doubt. It would have been a different team. I think – listen, the one that shocked me, maybe as much as anything tonight, Davidson beating Maryland. Mm-hmm. That's a huge win.
It's a big
win. Huge win for a program. Listen, Bob McKillop retires. His son Matt takes over before last season. He takes over a program that obviously has a lot of tradition, and he didn't do great last year in his first year. He admitted it to us. He had to get this program back on track. They to come out and beat Maryland tonight. Huge for the league.
That's a Maryland team that a lot of people.
I like them. Now
was
again, they got
underrated.
freshmen, and Kaiser didn't play a whole lot. Like he's not playing a whole lot, but Willard's got some guys back. I mean, Julian Reese and obviously Young. Like he's got a lot back and added some freshmen. That's a hell of a win for Davidson.
And that's huge for the Atlantic 10 as well.
Yeah,
because we talk about this all the time, right? The non-conference, if you as a league can stack up enough wins where you have enough high numbers when it comes to these enough low numbers, enough highly ranked teams in KenPom, in the net, and all of these different algorithms, that just means the rising tide lifts all ships when it comes to the actual conference.
Look at some other. Right? I'm going to give you another one tonight. My city, our city, lost to Duquesne tonight. Charleston. Mm-hmm. I mean, they lost. They lost by 18.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be some mourning going on.
By the way, Day Grant.
Oh,
did you see what he did?
Yeah, he told Pat Kelsey to call it.
He hit a 3 to put him up by like 17, and he looks over at Pat Kelsey, and they got a camera angle from directly behind him and goes, "Call a timeout." And you just see Pat Kelsey go, like his face, like
you want to charge him.
Rage just start to turn up in his face.
No, it's a great night for the most part. Dayton lost at Northwestern. But again, Dayton's going to go through some things now. Again, you're without your point guard. for the season, basically for the second straight year now. So Anthony Grant is going to have to really reconfigure this team for the second straight year. I expect Dayton to probably take some non-conference hits and maybe get it back together for league play.
Charleston's struggling right now.
I mean, they lost three.
They lost
key
a lot.
pieces.
They lost a lot. They lost a lot.
Three
They lost a lot.
starters.
They lost a lot.
You know, like it's hard, man. Like you, and that team was just something that they had something to them. They were all chipping their shoulder guys. You know, they lost two kids from West Liberty that were terrific. They lost their point guard, Ryan Larson. So, you know, it's a different team, and chemistry made that team. Chemistry made that team, and when you take away those guys, and Dalton Bolin was a MF, like he was that guy. I don't know if you guys ever saw it, like in pregame warmups, he would go up and hit a player on the other team. He would literally just hit him to piss him off. Like that was the type of dude he was.
You know who else was that kind of guy?
You.
RC.
RC didn't do that. He didn't stoop to those levels. You did at Vassar.
You had to play to be able to do something like that.
No, you just did in the warm-ups when you weren't suspended. And
know
you
what-
actually got to participate in the warm-ups.
True story. You know what we used to do in warm-ups? I don't know if you guys did this. We would keep stats and we'd like run them through it the whole season. So like we'd sit there when we were just shooting around and warming up and like making threes. I'd be like, I scored 22 in warm-ups. What'd you do?
Trust me, RC did not have to do that. RC did it in the actual game.
Well, yeah, I know.
I didn't think about that one. That's new to me.
It was like
RC would have scored 100 every game.
It was a running joke that we had. Like the guys doing the rebounding with like, I had 17 assists in warm-ups. I had a triple-double. Yeah, we were weird. All right, so real quick, I want to talk about Texas A&M going into Ohio State and winning. Ohio State did not look great in their opener. Texas A&M is a good team. Wade Taylor did not play well, and they still got a road to Ohio State. What do you make of Buzz and what he's got going to A&M? And two, is Holtman going to get this thing going? Like, I love Holt. I want Ohio State to be good under him.
I mean, the buzzsaw's got it going now. He does.
The buzzsaw.
He does.
Come on, man.
The buzzsaw's got it going. Finally, it took him a little while, but he's got this thing going now. And
can we get that on a T-shirt? Hey, Jacob Bear. I need the buzzsaw on a T-shirt. A Texas A&M
and it
logo.
really was never a doubt. The guy
He's
just
done it
figures it
everywhere.
out. He figures it out.
He does. He did it at Virginia
figures it out.
Tech. He did a hell of a job.
He did a
I mean,
great job there.
You know, the previous guys at Virginia Tech just couldn't get it done.
Struggled.
And Buzz came in there and got it done.
And not get it done. He had them rolling. Like they were rolling.
Yes. He's got an elite guard. It starts there, right? He's got maybe as good a point guard as there is in the entire country in Wade Taylor. You go into Columbus, and again, yeah, I'm concerned about Ohio State. How can you not be? They were so bad for so long last season. Yeah. They caught fire at the end there in the Big Ten tournament, but it was almost like, well, how much of this was just playing loose? You know, like it didn't matter, right? At that point, they were playing with house money. Everybody's expecting to get their ass kicked. They play well. And Roddy Gale's been pretty good. What do you have tonight?
He didn't play well tonight.
He didn't play well tonight. He had 9 points. He didn't shoot it well. I don't know. I just this Ohio State team could be up and down this year, and Chris Holtman can ill afford to be up and down this year. He's got to get in the tournament.
All right, we got about 90 seconds here left before we sign off for the night. Goodman, I'm going to you first. It's time for your toast of the night. I know you. Do you have something prepared? Are you ready? Are you ready for toast of the night? Can you give us one?
No, I'm not, but I can give you one.
Are you ready for toast of the night? Do you need me to go first? Because I'm ready to go.
Yeah, go.
I'm ready to go. My toast of the night is going out to the son of a coach who had a brutal season last season. The coach had a brutal season. So he brings his son in, a grad transfer. He had 30 points tonight. He had 6 assists tonight. He had 4 rebounds tonight. Xander Rice on the road for Monmouth. They go into Morgantown.
That's a good one.
And they beat West Virginia.
It's a very good one.
Got to feel happy for Xander. You got to feel happy for King Rice. You got to feel happy for Monmouth. You know what that is right there? That's more Jersey mid-majors taking them down.
So you're going to celebrate a Carolina guy as we're doing the show in Cameron. Isn't that so like?
Of course he is. Unbelievable.
No, you know what? I'm going to steal Jeff's because I know his alma mater. This was a hell of a win tonight. Yeah. This was a hell of a win. And watch these guys live and see their physicality and how they won tonight. I came away more impressed with Arizona than I am concerned with Duke. And my only concern with Duke is rebounding. I think that'll be an issue, something they got to be cognizant of all year. But this Arizona team came in here with some toughness and took it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with the youngest head coach in the country, and that's Tevin Sadler at Nicholls State. And he got his first career win, and he did it against LSU in a bye game.
Yeah.
Pretty good, right? He got hired late at Nicholls State when Austin Klontz left to be an assistant coach at Alabama. They hired this young kid who feels like he just finished playing because he did.
Yeah, wasn't he at Delaware like
a few years ago?
Like 3 years ago?
Yes.
What is he? Is he 21
Amazing.
years old? He's younger than DeAndre Williams, and he's a head coach. How
He
about
probably
that?
is. That's probably
A lot of people are. A lot of people are.
You know who isn't?
Oh, I know.
None
None of us are just taking
Jeff Goodman is certainly not younger than him. Listen, this has been the Field of 68 After Dark, a Friday night episode. It's fun. It's fun having a good.
Have another cookie, fat ass.
It's fun having. It's fun having a good Friday night episode. What is going on over here?
Your gullet needs it.
Can you stop saying gullet? Like gullet is not your belly. This is gullet.
No, your gullet.
This is your. This is a gullet.
Isn't your gullet your belly?
No. You keep saying that. You keep saying that. It's not a gullet. I now have our producers in here yelling at us because we've gone over the show because you started throwing cookies at me. Listen, this has been the Field of 68 After Dark, live from Cameron Indoor Stadium. Got to give credit to Duke. Got to give credit to Arizona. I love when they make us come to games because there are great games on campus at the start of the season. This has been a blast for Jeff Goodman, for Randolph Childress, for Dagan Hughes, for Trevor Verleese, and for the Bear. Shout out the Bear, our new producer. Shout out Jalen Wiley, our new producer. This has been the Field of 68 After Dark.